Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So today I'm talking about brainwashing, but I'm bringing a slightly different take on that word, because I'm not talking about the things that might happen deliberately or seem to be deliberately. I'm talking about, first of all, about how we learn who we appear to be. And I'm going to say who we appear to be because I fundamentally believe less and less that this noise that goes through my head is who I really am, or who you really are for that matter. And I do think about when does this brainwashing start? Unconsciously, and with not attributing any kind of blame on anybody at all. It's all unconscious. I suspect it starts, well, who we become and how we think and how we are starts at conception, doesn't it? It starts with the genes that we are given through the who our mother is and who our father is. For everybody, that's a truth, isn't it, about how we start life. Doesn't matter whether that was in a test tube or through any other system other than, two people coming together. Whatever it is, there's a sperm and there's an egg that makes a human being. That's just how it rolls, isn't it, in life? And then we occupy a female human body as we're growing. And I guess that is when it starts. The environment that we're in, they say that even if a mother's very stressed out, that the baby will be receiving cortisol, adrenaline and things into the bloodstream. So even before we come out into the big wide world, there's some stuff happening, isn't there, in terms of, but that's not who we really are. But I think when we're born, when we look into the eyes of a tiny baby, we see the closest we'll probably see to the light and the love and the wisdom and the peace that we really are. That's probably the time when we're closest to it, probably under the age of 2. But as soon as we come out into this world, that conditioning starts, if it hasn't already started. We start to learn from the people around us, from the bits of television we watch, from every single thing that we experience, from the things people say to us. From the things that people do around us. As I say, from television, from I often think, children who are exposed to the news early on in life without understanding it. And that's why I think we have things like film ratings and television ratings for programs, because there is an understanding that children being exposed to things that are not appropriate for them is going to have an impact in terms of what they learn. And because this learning is all happening without us knowing, it is like brainwashing in that way, in that we don't know that we're learning to be who we become as adults. We don't know that. It's just happening. And all the learning that's happening, even the learning about things that are true, like that flame will burn you if you put your hand on it, boiling hot water will scald you, vehicles are going to hurt if they hit you, some real safety things. We also learn some rules, I guess, and systems that we learn because in a moment when something seems dangerous to us because somebody's shouting at us or somebody's not happy with us, we learn to behave in a certain way, and then we hang on to that right into, I'm 51, still probably. I'm definitely not still probably. I am definitely still running programs that I gained from when I was very young. And even when you think about it, because the programming is happening via the adults around us, they were programmed by the adults around them, that it goes back and back and back. Like when I've heard people talk before about ancestral conditioning and stuff. Well, that's what that means, really. It just means, well, that's what we've learned. And that's why you can look at a country, in a particular country, and you can kind of go, those people seem to behave like this as a population. I won't pick on any particular population, but English people have been invaded a lot over our history, and I think that does have an impact on how we see the world. I mean, I haven't been invaded personally, but because it's been passed down and passed down. So we are brainwashed, not deliberately, but unconsciously. And so that means we get to the stage of being, for me, a middle-aged woman, or however old you are right now, and we have thinking. And boy, does that thinking look real, doesn't it? Like, hands up anyone in the room who believes they're thinking on a daily basis. And it is really confronting, is this, because you kind of go, well, if I don't hang my hat on this stuff going through my head, what do I do? Well, more and more it seems you live in the present moment, because it's falling away for me. And life is just getting better, not worse. So that's really interesting to consider. And then when I help people for it to fall away, their lives get better, not worse. So there is something about letting go of our thinking and our rules about life, because that's what it creates. It basically creates a set of rules or beliefs or ideas about how life is supposed to work. So here's another idea for the use of that word, brainwashing. What if it was about washing the brain clean? Now, when I say that, it's more about allowing the brain to be the thinking. It's not really the brain, allowing it to be washed clean. And that happens through this process of starting to see what it actually is. What is thought? It's just a program that you're running that was inserted without your permission or without you knowing all those years, well, over many, many years, obviously. It's a program. Now, how do we know which things to believe and which not to believe? Well, basically, none of it is true. But as we go through life, some things seem helpful and some don't. And I think the clue is always, a clue to start the inquiry and ask the question, is this true, is your bodily sensations. Try not to use the word feelings or emotions now, because I don't really want people to get caught up in labeling them. But it's quite difficult to talk about it without doing so, because this is the thing with this. The closer you get to it, the harder it is to wrap words around it. But let's take an anxious feeling. I'm going to take an angry feeling, actually, because that's much more familiar to me. So when you feel an angry feeling, and in that moment, once you realise that's not coming from the person who's doing the thing, who looks like they're making you angry, once you step back from that, and then that's the first step, I think, is to step back from any idea that anything outside of you ever creates a feeling. Step back from that first. And when you've stepped back from that, then there is this space for inquiry, because where if the feeling's not coming from those people out there, where's it coming from? Where's it coming from? Well, it's coming from that belief system. It's coming from us believing something that isn't true. The feeling, the sensation in the body is coming from thought in the moment. It's not coming from outside. We can leave that way behind, because that's just never true. But then when we start to sit with this, and we start to get curious, and we start to ask questions like, is this true? Or what am I believing that isn't true? Then the less start to peel away naturally. Because the sensation is telling us, it's telling us that we're out of our lane. We're off into beliefs about the world and other people and everything else that just are not true. And then the brain, can be washed clean of all this stuff that, let's face it, a lot of it is not helping us to live the life of our dreams, perhaps, but it's getting in the way, isn't it? It's getting in the way of our healthy relationships. It's getting in the way of our healthy relationship with ourselves, even. So that's brainwashing from a completely different take. Just get curious. Once you stop looking outside for the source of your feelings and you start knowing it's coming, it's all inside this system, then the space for investigation and curiosity is just endless, really. Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.